You probably think that flying is simple: an airplane takes off, follows a straight line on a map, and a few hours later lands at its destination. But reality is far more complex. Aviation isn't about getting there as fast as possible, it's about doing so in the most efficient, safe, and predictable way within a vast system where thousands of aircraft are in motion at once. That's why the first thing that shatters conventional thinking is that airplanes almost never fly in straight lines. On a map, a route may look like a straight line, but in reality, it's a chain of pre-calculated segments. In the sky, there are invisible airways, virtual roads along which aircraft flow. These routes are designed based on traffic density, weather conditions, airspace restrictions, and even military zones. It's like driving: you don't cut across a field directly, you follow the road because it's faster and safer for the entire system. Another surprising detail is that most transatlantic flights take off at night, and it's not a coincidence or a convenience for passengers. It's pure optimization. A night departure from North America allows an airplane to land in Europe in the morning, precisely when airports are ready to handle long-haul arrivals and passengers can seamlessly continue their journeys. Plus, nighttime offers more stable atmospheric conditions and predictable airflow, saving both fuel and time. So night isn't just a time for flying, it's part of the entire system's logic. Even if you ignore schedules, there's another key factor: planes don't always take the shortest route. Intuitively, shorter distance seems best. But in aviation, the opposite is true. Routes are planned to account for wind, especially jet streams, powerful high-altitude air currents. Sometimes, a plane may take a detour, but thanks to a tailwind, it still arrives faster and burns less fuel. It's not about going where it's closer, it's about going where it's more advantageous. That's the fundamental difference between passenger logic and aviation logic. Another unexpected fact: pilots really do sleep during flights. It sounds strange, but it's strictly regulated. On long-haul flights, multiple pilots rotate shifts. While one rests, another fully controls the aircraft. On large planes, there are even dedicated crew rest areas hidden from passengers. This isn't for comfort, it's for safety. A fatigued pilot is a risk. The system is designed to prevent that. Finally, something rarely considered: the air inside the cabin. Many assume it's recycled and stuffy, making breathing difficult. But it's more sophisticated. Fresh air from outside is constantly pumped in and mixed with a portion of recirculated air. This air passes through HEPA filters, like those used in hospitals, that remove up to 99% of particles, including bacteria and viruses. So, from a cleanliness standpoint, the air in a plane is often cleaner than in standard indoor spaces. The discomfort comes not from dirty air, but from lower pressure and dryness. When you see a plane take off from the ground, it seems to climb into the sky and glide somewhere among the clouds. But the chosen altitude isn't random. Planes intentionally fly above the clouds, not for the view, but for efficiency. The higher a plane flies, the thinner the air becomes. This reduces drag on the wings and fuselage, and engines expend less energy maintaining speed. At altitudes of 10 to 12 kilometers, a plane flies faster and more economically than at lower levels. Clouds are just a visual cue; they usually form below, and flying above them puts the plane into a more stable and predictable environment. And here's another point that worries many people: turbulence. Anyone who has flown has felt those sudden jolts. Inside, it feels like the plane is losing control or something is wrong. In reality, turbulence is a normal phenomenon caused by uneven air movement. Essentially, the plane is passing through waves in the atmosphere, like a boat on water. Modern airliners are built to withstand forces far greater than those experienced in turbulence. Wings can flex several meters, and that's not a sign of failure, it's part of normal operation. The risk is minimal, and the main cause of injuries isn't the plane itself, but unbuckled passengers. Another almost unbelievable fact: planes can take off and land on autopilot. Many think autopilot is just a helper in the air. But modern systems can actually perform nearly the entire flight, including landing in poor visibility. These systems are called Cat 3, And they're used in dense fog when pilots can't see the runway until the very last moment. That said, pilots aren't passive, they monitor systems, ensure everything is running smoothly, and are ready to take control at any time. Autopilot is a tool that reduces workload and increases precision, not a replacement for human skill. Behind the scenes in the passenger cabin, there's another little-known detail: aircraft have special crew rest compartments. On long-haul flights, pilots and flight attendants may be airborne for 10 to 12 hours or more. To maintain concentration and safety, rest is essential. That's why large planes like the Boeing 777 or 787 have hidden areas, sometimes above the cockpit or in the tail, equipped with bunks where crew members can sleep according to schedule. Passengers never see these spaces, but it's thanks to them that the crew remains alert and functional throughout the flight. The pilots monitor instruments, weather, and traffic, ready to take control at any moment. In essence, pilots act as operators of a complex system rather than drivers in the conventional sense. During flight, many experience unusual fatigue, dryness, or slight sluggishness, not just from prolonged sitting. The cabin pressure is intentionally lower than at ground level because fully replicating surface conditions at altitudes of 10 to 12 kilometers is technically challenging and impractical. Instead, cabins are pressurized to an altitude of about 1.5 to 2 kilometers, a standard for all modern aircraft. Even such a detail is the result of engineering decisions dictated by physics. Another surprising fact: the black box is not actually black. It's bright orange to make it easier to locate after an incident. Inside are two devices: one records flight parameters, the other captures cockpit conversations. Both are protected from extreme temperatures, pressure, and impacts. Despite its name, it's not a box but a compact, highly durable module designed to help determine what went wrong if something goes awry. One of the most counterintuitive facts is that planes sometimes fly enormous distances, even halfway around the world, to save fuel. At first glance, this seems illogical since longer routes should mean higher consumption. But aviation prioritizes efficiency over distance. Flight paths are calculated not just by distance but also by wind, temperature, airspace congestion, and restrictions. A strong tailwind can significantly speed up a plane, while a headwind slows it down. As a result, a longer route with favorable winds may be faster and more fuel efficient than a shorter one flying directly into the wind. Sometimes planes fly far north or south, taking a curved path instead of a straight line, all to optimize fuel and flight time. There are more details showing how meticulously aviation is calculated, leaving little room for chance. For example, planes are never fueled arbitrarily. The fuel amount is pre-calculated with precision, factoring in the route, wind, temperature, aircraft weight, airport congestion, and potential delays. Even an emergency diversion or go-around is accounted for, so planes never take off with a bare minimum. The system always includes backup options if things don't go as planned. Another rarely considered fact: every flight has an alternate airport. Before takeoff, pilots know exactly where they'll land if the primary destination becomes inaccessible, whether due to weather, congestion, or other issues. This alternate may be hundreds of kilometers off course, but it's already included in the flight plan with extra fuel allocated. In aviation, even Plan B is pre-planned, not decided in the last minute. Another detail passengers rarely notice: the cockpit door isn't just a door, it's a security feature. It's reinforced to withstand significant force and unauthorized entry attempts. After events in the early 2000s, cockpit security requirements were drastically tightened, making unauthorized access virtually impossible. It's part of a system that operates invisibly but plays a critical role in flight safety. The takeoff process itself is also counterintuitive. Many assume a pilot can abort at any moment, but there's a clear threshold. Up to a certain speed, known as V1, the decision speed, a takeoff can be aborted if something goes wrong, like a technical issue. But once that speed is reached, stopping becomes riskier than continuing. Pilots must proceed with the takeoff, even if an engine fails. It sounds illogical, but it's based on safety calculations. Finally, something seldom seen from the outside, planes undergo regular, deep inspections. These aren't just pre-flight checks. Different levels of maintenance exist, with some stages requiring the aircraft to be partially disassembled. Every component is inspected, parts replaced, and the plane reassembled. These procedures are strictly regulated and repeated throughout the aircraft's lifespan. That's why a 20 or even 30-year-old plane can remain in excellent condition. When you put it all together, routes, fuel, backup options, safety systems, crew training, and maintenance, it's clear that aviation operates very differently from how it appears from the outside. Flying isn't just moving from point A to point B, it's the result of a vast system where every decision is pre-calculated, verified, and built into a unified logic of safety. In fact, it's one of the most complex and precise systems ever created by humans. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. We'll dive deeper into how aviation really works. Let us know in the comments which fact surprised you the most. Maybe your comment will inspire our next video. Thanks to Alexei Dubrovsky for the subtitles.